Show him the money. The Dolphins made Tua Tagovailoa the NFL's fourth highest paid quarterback on a per-year basis after locking in a massive 4-year, $212.4 million contract extension. And with the new deal comes a new hope that Tua can lead Miami to their first playoff win since 2000, despite the drought. Here's Louis Riddick.
Tua this past year, in terms of QBR, completion percentage over expected, which is one of the best stats that there is, one of the best objective measures of quarterback play because it factors in the pass rush, difficulty of the throw, nearest defender, what the route was, what the situation was in the game. Okay, he was top 10 in both of those categories. When they win, it's Tyreek. When they lose, it's Tua. They get bludgeoned for 150 yards on the ground. Tua should have been out there playing linebacker. They don't run the football. Why didn't Tua run the football? It's like it's always his fault.
All right, we got Mina, Chad, and Dan here. Mina, I'm going to start with you. Is Tua given too much blame for the Dolphins' failures?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you have to start by sort of articulating what the criticism is. If you're saying Tua is just a cog in this offense, he benefits from the receivers and the scheme, he's irreplaceable, that's wrong. Tua is fundamental to this offense. No doubt he benefits from the skill players and Mike McDaniel, but they also benefit from his lightning quick release, his pinpoint accuracy. He is as much a part of this offense's success as everyone else. However, if you're saying, well, Tua's not, you can't criticize him for his play in cold weather or the lack of playmaking under pressure, that's also wrong. I do think you can criticize him for those things. Those are areas he needs to get better at for this team to go deep in the playoffs. He knows that. I think everybody in Miami knows that. So there's an appropriate criticism and there's an unfair one. And I think whether or not you're defending on him depends on who you're listening to in that regard.
I don't think Tua receives too much blame by analysts who aren't lazy. If you're a lazy person at this job, you're going to be like, oh, the Dolphins lost. Tua must have played bad. Couple things. Number one, Tua's 32-19 as a starter. So we're talking about a guy that is, at least for the Miami Dolphins, winning a fair amount of games as the starting quarterback. Number two, and everyone continues to talk, I agree with Mina about the cold weather. Sure, he may never be an unbelievable player in cold weather. Thankfully, he plays in Miami, and they should be in relatively warm weather more often than not. And some pressure, sure. Last year, everyone continues to go, oh, they're 1-6 versus teams with 500 or more records or something like that. Yeah, that's that right there. Okay. Number one, the first loss in that group, their defense gave up 50 to the Buffalo Bills. Okay, so I guess Tua should have played defense. The second loss was to the Philadelphia Eagles. One, the Eagles scored 31 on the defense, and then two, if everyone remembers, they lost 31-17. Tyreek dropped a touchdown, and they also had a touchdown pass called back for a penalty. So we're not pinning that on Tua. The third game, Kansas City, they lost 21-14 in Germany. Tyreek fumbled right before the half, and it was returned for a touchdown. The fourth game was Baltimore. Baltimore scored 56 on them. And I think the second to last game was Buffalo by a touchdown. I think it was Sunday Night Football. So the on the surface level, 1-6, again, doesn't tell those stories. I'm not absolving. I'm not pretending that Tua was perfect in these games. But in two of the games, 50 was scored. In one of the games, we had 2 touchdowns called back in a 2-touchdown loss. In one of the games, there was a fumble return for a touchdown in a 1-touchdown loss. So it's silly to me, the constant 1-6 versus 500 teams, when there's relative data and evidence to say it wasn't certainly on the quarterback play.
You know what? When it comes to, I think the quarterback position, when it comes to people talking about quarterbacks, it's like this across the league. I think a little bit more for Tua. I think it's 50-50 on fans or media that really don't like him. They don't like the fit with him here in Miami. Then you take into account the injuries that he's had. People talking about his skill set, his arm is not strong. I think Tua fits very well. Again, the quarterback that just got paid like this, 4-year, $212 million, to whom much is given, much is expected. I think it's going to be even worse as far as him being analyzed and critiqued from the quarterback position. Having Tyreek, having Waddle, having a great scheme, having a great head coach that knows his strengths and his weaknesses are going to be fine. I like everything. To piggyback off what Dan said about the 1-6 and some of the teams that they played, in order to get and reach the end goal that they do have in winning a Lombardi, the teams that you just named, they're going to have to beat those teams to get there. And they have to play better against the top teams that are above 500. Despite some of the scores, despite some of the fumbles, it's a team game, yes. But again, the onus normally lies on the quarterback position, and he has to play his best. He doesn't have to be great. He just has to be good consistently.
Yeah. And you know me, I'm not a wins and losses person when it comes to talking about quarterbacks.
Totally.
I do think in some of those games, and you actually saw it there with some of those highlights, he didn't play well, frankly, in some of them. He is not the only reason why they lost, no doubt. And there have been times the last few years where this Dolphins defense has really struggled. There's been times when they've been really injured. I think that also factors in. But, you know, I think with Tua Tagovailoa, like what we're talking about is, are we evaluating him or grading him as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? And that's where I think you can have a nuanced conversation, because we all agree he's good. We all agree this offense has been excellent in the regular season with him. And frankly, that's enough to get paid at the level he did in today's NFL. That's just how much quarterbacks make. I know it bothers some people, but that's what the market says. And if you go away from that, you're going to go into the quarterback wilderness and have to find someone. If, however, you are debating, is he truly like a top 10 quarterback? Is he someone who you win games because of in the most important moments against the best teams? That's open to debate. And I think, you know, that's something that he has to prove. I'm not saying he's incapable of rising to that moment. He is still a young quarterback who can get even better. But thus far, I think he has not been that guy for this team.
Yeah, I would not put Tua in a category of you win games because of. Now, I think there's probably 5 on the planet, you know, maybe 6.
Yeah.
But I firmly put Tua in a category that you win games with, and you'll win a lot of games with. And there's probably another 8 or so guys in that group, maybe 10. And to Mina's point, if you don't have some of those top 15 or 16, every year is the spin cycle of trying to find one. Why do you think Atlanta took Michael Penix?
Listen, it's funny when we talk about the quarterback position and its importance. And I think one of the things we've been spoiled with the Tom Brady, the Patrick Mahomes, the Joe Burrows, obviously Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are special. You know, outside of those top guys, it's difficult for teams to find someone they can build around and be able to say, you know what, we have a quarterback that we can win with, and just have a supporting cast and go from there. I think in Miami, with Mike McDaniels, I think he understands the strengths and weaknesses with Tua, and the supporting cast around him offensively is so good. It's so good that there are ways to manipulate the things that Tua might not be good at because of the weaponry around him. And I think if they do that and Tua just be consistent. You don't have to be great. Just be consistent. You don't have to be like the top 5, the top 6 guys where they just say, here, put it in your hands and you go out and win the game. He doesn't have to be that for them to be successful.
Yeah, certainly a lot to prove there in Miami. Chad, you are leaving us. Great working with you, my friend.
Whoa,
we'll see you later.
What do you mean I'm leaving?
Unfortunate. No, your name isn't Chad. Every time I say Chad, you think I'm talking to you. Chad, Dan.
I'm leaving?
us. Oh, wait, sorry. I thought it was Dan talking. Yes, Chad, you're leaving. You're supposed to leave, right?
You know what they say,
You want to
Chad.
stay? You should hang out. You can continue to hang out.
I'm not going anywhere.